Hello, 2019. I know I'm a bit late. Well, actually, quite late, which is why this is going to be a nice quick and dirty, because if I leave it any longer, it's just going to be pointless, and let's not do that. So, without a further ado, let's get into it. 2018, what a year! What a year! Cinematically speaking, I mean, I could talk about all the news, all the stuff going on in the world, but no. This is all about the cinematic year of 2018. And cinematically, it has been a very interesting year with sequels, with long-awaited sequels, with animation sort of kind of clawing up a bigger chunk of landscape, and with films that were pretty much almost like cultural movements. One film in specifically, obviously, but still, I mean, wow. But anyway, enough of that. Like I said, quick and dirty. Let's get into it. Go! I Feel Pretty, what a title, is not a movie for me. I mean, I am the last person that should be watching this. Unfortunately, I did have several people who for some reason thought it would be great to watch it with me, so here I am. Here it is, at the bottom of the pile, where it justly deserves to be, because while it is not the most horrible thing I ever saw, it is... okay, it's fine. For what it's trying to do is a convoluted mess, because, hey, are you a woman who doesn't feel great about herself? That's okay, you can do that. You can be a 10 and feel like a 3, or be like a 4 that thinks she's a 10, but it all doesn't matter. We're all equal as long as we all have makeup? Like, what? I mean, okay. All in all, it's, funnily enough, it's a riff on Big, of all things. Yeah, except replace Tom Hanks with Amy Schumer and take out almost literally any charisma out of anything of this, and any sort of proper engagement, except for one little bit. Inside of all this mess is a nice little romance story, which is probably the most genuinely heartfelt and kind of realistic romance story I've seen in a while. And but it's just thrown in there, and it just keeps getting forgotten, and it just keeps getting, again, lost in this mess. General premise, as probably everybody knows from the trailers, woman is kind of not great looking, but at the same time not bad looking. I mean, look at her. She's fine. She's not that large. I don't know why the big deal, but okay, no, never mind. So she doesn't feel great about herself. She's fat and ugly. Whatever. Hits her head. Decides she's suddenly the sexiest woman alive. Does on doing things. Cool. The funniest bit of it all is that legit, they do a riff on Big. I mean, when you see it, you're just gonna go, why? Anyway. So, goes on doing things. Okay, cool, I guess. I mean, convoluted message aside, the biggest problem of the film is, again, the lack of charisma. The main character is just not likable. She is kind of annoying, actually. She's annoyingly self-deprecating to begin with, because, again, she doesn't look that, large. I don't know. That's my biggest about this movie. This is not a huge. She has a friend in the actual movie. She has a friend who's like 3 times her size, right? And they don't focus on her feeling whatever. No. This girl, there's this sort of slightly big girl decides she's anyway, whatever. But again, annoyingly self-deprecating. But then, boom. Crack, right? Sexiest rack, and suddenly she's annoyingly self-obsessed, and it's just you go from annoying to annoying, and you just don't. It doesn't click. You don't click with the character. You don't care about the character, and I don't know. No, skip it. Don't bother with it. I don't particularly regret watching it. I ended up watching it twice. Oh God, what am I doing with my life? But don't bother. Just don't. The Girl in Bits of Three Realms is what this movie should have been called. But you know, it's not. So, I guess. But no, The Nutcracker in the Four Realms is one of those movies that, from the very get-go, just makes you go, why? And then you start watching it, and makes you go, why? And then you keep watching it, and you just go, why? And then you finish it, and you go, wait, that was a movie? You mean that wasn't just the first act of a movie? That was the whole thing, right? Really? Oh. Well. Huh. Because the whole thing is honestly in such a rush to get to the end that it forgets to be a film. What I mean by that is that it seems more of a cinematic equivalent of a theme park. Yes, exactly. It's a theme park. But imagine going through a theme park and you're being led by a concierge, I think they're called, yeah, concierges? Something like a concierge, who is in such a rush to get you from beginning to end of it. He just takes you by the hand and keeps dragging you, or drives you in one of those little buggies, and he just points to things, goes here, 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 but before you have even time to turn your head and look at the thing he's pointing at, the thing's gone. You're on the next thing. And before you can even get a proper look at that, you're on to the next one. And it just keeps going like that, and just going and going in such a rush, and it seems just to get quicker and quicker towards the end, that you just spat out at the end of the whole thing, and you just sit there going, what did I just watch? Did anything actually happen? Did I actually see anything? And the answer is yes. Bits of things. Bits of actually interesting things that I would love to just get a bit fleshed out. Just a bit. I'm not asking to have a whole movie surrounding each realms, which would be interesting actually, or an episode, because this looks like it would be much better suited for a small TV series more than a movie. But at least some effort into characterization of these things, at least some sort of link, some sort of emotional link at least, so I could care about these characters, about these realms, about this whole world, and about this whole movie. But in the end, it's a careless, forgettable experience that is honestly a waste of people's time, and that just has no soul to its pretty shell. To paraphrase Dr. Ian Malcolm, let them go extinct. And that was my first thought after watching Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, that this franchise deserves to be let go extinct. Because this is getting to Pirates of the Caribbean level ridiculous, where a franchise that is beloved by millions is getting literally milked to death, and and it's just sad to watch. It is honestly just sad to watch. But anyway, let's look at this train wreck, or this this fossil. So yeah, the island of Jurassic World is in danger of going kablooey because a dormant volcano in the middle of the thing is no longer dormant and is about to pretty much sink the whole thing into the ocean. Good riddance. Let them go extinct, because honestly, it doesn't matter. Did everyone forget that there is a second island? That's the big thing that I just couldn't get my mind off of. there is a second island of these things that is legally protected, where they're safe, where they can congregate and live and be free from the human influence, because, again, legally protected conservation island. But again, moving on. Never mind. Point being, a big debate has been sparked, as usually big debates are, whether or not to save these creatures from the island. The general consensus is no, except for this small contingent of effectively, I don't know, Greenpeace, PETA type people, these activists who say, no, these things have to be saved because reasons. Anyway, but cue a billionaire philanthropist, because of course, that wants to save these creatures and put them on a different island. Again, there's another one of these already. I mean, come on! But never mind. Moving on. Things go wrong, of course, as they do. Dinosaur shenanigans ensue, and we have by far the dumbest entry in the franchise. So much so that it eclipses the fact that this is actually an interim entry that decides to gateway the old Jurassic Park films, which are all on an island and, self-contained, and ooh, no dinosaurs on an island, to effectively Planet of the Apes era that they seem to hope to set up and achieve later on. But given this, I'm not sure how much interest there will be. The movie made quite a lot, actually, so I mean, yeah, they'll make it, yeah, they'll do it, and hopefully, this franchise will rise from the ashes of this dumpster fire. That's my hope. But I wouldn't be holding my breath, and this one is not worth anybody's time. Let it go extinct. So, before I get to the movie at hand, I want to go back a couple of years to the first one, the first Equalizer movie, which at the time was most prominently compared to another little movie called John Wick. The two movies are pretty similar, I guess, but overall, The Equalizer to me was a much better action movie than John Wick. It was better written, better acted. I don't know, I connected with the main hero a bit better, I guess, and I liked the mystery of him, I suppose, because John Wick decided to hype up its main character and then sort of fall on its hype pretty decently, but in The Equalizer, there was the element of surprise at every corner, because you don't know who this character was. You find out bits of his story as the movie progressed, and of course his skills and everything, and I really liked that. So Equalizer 2, by comparison, just seems to have decided to flip the table, flip the plot, if you will, because it puts so much emphasis and focus on the main character, on his story, on his motivations, sure, on his general aesthetic and characterization as a whole, that it forgets that it's an action movie. I mean that. We probably have maybe 2 decent action scenes in this whole thing. Otherwise, it is akin to an old man just sitting in his rocking chair on his front porch, drinking, I don't know, maybe a glass of beer of some sort, and just reminiscing about the good old days. But also tinged in the reminiscence is a bit of sadness about his, the time when he was in his prime. And this is what this movie feels like. It feels like a film lamenting a franchise past its prime, and we're only in the second entry. I mean, how do you get to the low point of 5+ film franchises in only the second entry. I don't get it. It's mind-boggling. It's baffling. It's just sad, really. This should be a much better movie than it is, and I wish it was. Denzel Washington, overall for me, is one of my favorite action heroes these days, right? I love The Book of Eli. I love The First Equalizer. I'm just overall enamored with the man, But in here, it's just no. I mean, it's not a total waste of time, I guess. It is an interesting look at different themes with the life he's chosen, the costs to it, but also it tries to entangle other subplots into it that bring in completely different themes. It meshes together pretty well, but it's just so depressing, honestly. Yeah, the whole mood, and I feel like the weirdest thing is that it's on purpose. It's depressing. It's depressing on purpose, which is just depressing, I guess. I mean, mission accomplished, yeah, but I don't want to go into the second entry of what should be a prominent action franchise to be depressed. That just seems odd. So an odd entry, definitely probably the end of it, because this is not what the Equalizer 2, I should say, should have been. Yeah, a shame, really. Just a shame. So as I was sitting here thinking about what to say about Mile 22, I realized that there isn't much to say about it, because it is such a straightforward movie. It is just a straightforward military espionage sort of flick, really. It's okay. It's the definition of okay. It does its action okay. It does its plot okay. The characters in it are okay. Overall, yeah, just okay. I mean, in terms of twists and turns, it, well, doesn't really have any. Actually, I do want to say that I'm surprised it's not based on a book, because the way it's presented, wrapped as it is in a sort of debriefing. Okay, I should probably backpedal. The whole thing revolves most of the film, I mean, except for a few bookends, it revolves around a single mission to get a certain person, right, to a certain place, right, and the movie's plot is sort of narrated by the main character in a debriefing. So in that respect, I guess, it sort of reminds me of a book. The way it's structured, it reminds me of the way literally a book plot would be structured. I can totally see it changing pace and sort of flipping between the debriefing and the actual plot of what the main character is trying to describe. And I like that. That actually was pretty cool. And again, I looked it up and I was shocked to find out that, oh no, wait, it's not based on a book. But I feel like if they do a book adaptation of the film, it'll be pretty great. It'll be pretty spot on. Where was I? Yeah. No, see, I'm just derailing because there really isn't much to say. So I cut my ramblings short. It's okay, I guess, and that's about it. Prior to this year, my only exposure to the Conjuring series was watching the second half of the second movie, the one where the nun-looking Malik, I think it was, the demon premiered. So going into this, I wasn't nearly as confused as everybody else who hasn't watched the rest of the series about what's so important about this nun. Yeah, so The Nun is the origin story of a specific supernatural entity, evil supernatural entity, aka a demon, that premiered in the series beforehand and is actually not so much scary as it is atmospheric, because the Conjuring series, while they were never scary, really, from everything I've seen, again, second half of the second movie, but they do a good job of building an atmosphere in the film to sort of suck you in. And this movie does suck you in into its world, into its environment and characters, and the characters are likable and fun, and there are some absolutely groan-worthy lines, like dad joke level lines. And it is kind of awkwardly funny at times more than anything else. But overall, I had a good time with it, I guess. There were a couple of jump scares that I guess got me, but some gotcha. But not much really to say about it, except if you watched the Conjuring series, you kind of know what to expect, I suppose. If you haven't, then this is a straightforward little atmospheric, kind of semi-pseudo-historical horror flick. It's a good thing to watch on Halloween or for Halloween during October, which is, I think, when we watched it. Not sure. Oh no, wait, yeah, not sure. But still, yeah, it's a good one to pop in and just lose yourself in for an hour and a half. But yeah, other than that, not much really to say. It's okay. The first of numerous animated features on this list, Duck Duck Goose, is also the least, well, I guess, least interesting, least engaging, least everything, really. Not bad, just in terms of quality, I suppose. It's yeah, the least. Not much really to say about this one. It's a fun little kids/family animated romp about a goose and a couple of ducklings whose lives kind of crash together, and then they have to survive a trip to places and go through hardships and discover family and run away from a surprisingly scary adversary, I'll admit. But yeah, that's it. It's purely by the numbers, by the book kind of film, and it doesn't really do anything new, anything particularly interesting. But it does its job well, and it entertains. Not much here for adults, I suppose. One of the big shockers is so easy to see so far ahead that it's just, it's pointless. But yeah, a good fun time, I suppose, if you have kids to take to the cinemas, or you want to have a movie to pop in to just keep your kids occupied for an hour and a half. Yeah, that's it. Weird mix of laughs over substance type of plot devices. Just about as good as the first one. Has a few genuine surprises and genuine laughs to it. Other than that, really, it's just a bunch of weird animals doing weird things, getting themselves into weird scenarios, and just overall making for a weird film that, if you were not aware, is a sequel to The Nut Job 1. And that's pretty much it, really. I mean, seriously, I couldn't remember the plot without reacquainting myself with it through a wiki summary of it, which boils down to a greedy mayor trying to destroy a park for an amusement park, and a bunch of animals living in the park going up against him, but because it is Nut Job 2, it just gets as many groans as it gets laughs, but also is just not memorable at all. I mean, It's weird to put it over Dr. Goose, I think, in my list, but overall, I think if I watch them again, I would enjoy Nightjob 2 a bit more because it is weird and you don't know where it's going in a few points, but in the end, you realize that it is by the numbers as much as anything else. So, yeah, nice, weird time, and if you like that kind of thing, good stuff. If you don't, then you're not missing out on much. Night School is a definite proof that Kevin Hart can still carry a comedy practically by himself, though he does have a really nice and talented co-star in Hadish? Not sure how to pronounce her name, but together they have pretty good on-screen chemistry, and they really carry this movie. So, basic premise. Kevin Hart is this high school dropout who, for reasons, well, you'll find out in the movie, has to get his high school diploma years, decades post. So he goes to a night school, which is there to help people like him to get a high school diploma. Shenanigans ensue, of course, because he is Kevin Hart, and shenanigans have to ensue. And Hadish is his teacher, who has sort of a no-nonsense attitude towards shenanigans, and the two of them clash, but then they sort of befriend, and yeah, it's fun, it's funny, but it's not amazing, this film. There are some few genuine oh my gosh moments, but purely the kind of which are shock value for the sake of shock value, and they're done and over with so quickly you don't even practically remember them all too well afterwards. Good pacing, good characters, overall a relatable scenario, I suppose. Likeable characters. A few contrivances get in the way of the actual plot being a cohesive thing of sorts. A few ways the film steers away from cliches, from some pretty tired cliches, so that's nice. Overall, solid, worth anyone's time. Not the best, definitely riding that middle ground sort of surf, and yeah, check it out if you like Kevin Hart, I suppose. Blockers is a movie equivalent of a dad joke. No matter how horrible and weird and awkward it is, you just can't help but laugh because of how horrible and awkward it is. I love dad jokes, so obviously I love this movie. Other people do not, so obviously they will not. This is definitely one of those comedies that you either love or hate. There's no middle ground with it because it just goes full in with its premise, with the jokes it's trying to make, with the type of comedy it's going for, with the type of message it's going for, with the type of, I guess, audience it's trying to capitalize on, I suppose. But overall, it is one of the funniest comedies of the year. It's down here in this pod because there's just movies purely a lot better, funny and such, and the ones I enjoyed more, because this flick had moments where I legitimately shut my eyes and yelled no at the top of my lungs because of what I was seeing, hearing, and experiencing. That was a bit too much, going too far, but it was so perfect for this movie, so I can't really blame it for it. It's just, again, a matter of taste or tastelessness. Either way, it is definitely worth your time. It is definitely worth a watch. If nothing more than just to experience just that one time and seeing what everyone else is talking about. This is the kind of movie you tell your friends to watch, either because you know they'll love it or because you know they'll hate it. Either way, check it out, and that's it. Okay, part 1 done. So much for quick and dirty. This took me like 3 days. Or 2. Not sure. Lost count. Either way, the next part will have to wait a couple of days because, again, busy life is keeping me busy, which is kind of okay, I guess. Life is like that. But yeah, these are the movies down here in this list, which are ranging from genuinely kind of terrible to meh to just good enough to sort of be at the top of this list, but not the bottom of the next one or the one after that. It's a mixed bag, and as such, talking about some of these was a bit challenging because I couldn't come up with enough pros or cons for either because they were just right there in the middle. And how do you quantify the middle? Well, or qualify the middle? How do you, you know, passionately talk about something that's just eh? Either way, this is done. I'm gonna just leave it off like this. The next one is hopefully gonna be better because there are better movies to talk about, and I'll have more to talk about them. So, have a good day, I suppose, and Happy New Year? It's not too late to say that yet, is it?